Welcome back. Today we are discussing Act 1, Scene 3, Part 2, where we see the witches are all prepared to meet Macbeth on the heath, and Macbeth is returning from the battlefield along with Banquo. So let us see what happens next. Enter Macbeth and Banquo. Macbeth. So foul and fair a day I have not seen. So Macbeth, again like Duncan in Act 1, Scene 2, towards the end, he unconsciously echoed the words of the witches. Here we see Macbeth doing the same thing. He echoes the words of the witches. Banquo. How far is it called to Forres? So they are traveling towards Forres. Forres is a place where they plan to reach. From Forres, Macbeth's castle is close by. Macbeth's castle is in Inverness. So they are going to travel to Forres first. So Banquo is now asking how far it is. And while Banquo asks these questions, before Macbeth could answer, we see that the strange apparitions appear, the witches appear out of nowhere. What are these? So withered and so wild in their attire. So withered, their attire, that is, their clothes are wrinkled and faded, and they appear wild. They suddenly appear in the middle of the desolate heath, that look not like the inhabitants of the earth and yet are on it. So Banquo says that they do not appear to be inhabitants of the earth, they do not appear that they belong to earth, yet they are present on it. Live you, or are you aught that man may question? So Banquo directly addresses the witches and asks them, are you alive? Are you living things? Or are you aught? Or aught means anything at all. What are you? He's not being able to place them. So he says that, are you anything at all whom we may ask some questions and receive answer? You seem to understand me. So Banquo notices that they respond through gestures. The witches respond through gestures. So he knows that the witches can understand him. By each at once her choppy finger laying upon her skinny lips. Choppy is the moment Banquo asks them the question regarding who they are, the three sisters simultaneously, the three weird sisters, as they had called themselves, simultaneously put their rough wrinkled fingers on their lips, indicating that they are not willing to answer any question until and unless they are ready to do so. You should be women. So we see that Banquo keep observing them, and he notices that they appear to be women, yet not quite so. And yet your beards forbid me to interpret that you are so. So they have beards, but they seem to be women, but they have beards. So the weird sisters have been presented as an anomaly. They are not someone who normally belong to earth. So they have been presented as an aberration, as an anomaly. So he says, I might call you women, but your beards are not allowing me to call you so. Now finally Macbeth speaks to the witches directly. Speak if you can, what are you? So he says that if you can speak, tell us who are you. The first witch answers, all hail Macbeth, hail to thee, Thane of Glamis. Now all hail, the way the witches greet Macbeth is quite significant because it brings to our memory the interaction between Judas and Jesus. Now in New Testament, all hail is a very common form of greeting, but one of the phrases stand out. What was that phrase? In Matthew verse 26 line 49, we see that Judas was present to betray Jesus to the Roman soldiers. So the plan was what? The plan was Judas would greet Jesus and he would kiss his hand so that the soldiers know whom to arrest. Now Judas approached Jesus saying, Hail Master. Now the witches greet Macbeth in a similar manner. And as Judas betrayed Jesus, similarly we will find the witches will eventually betray Macbeth. So the way they greet Macbeth is also quite significant. Let us continue reading. Witch 2 greets Macbeth again. All hail Macbeth, hail to thee, Thane of Cawdor. Now Macbeth is not yet aware that he has been made the Thane of Cawdor. Third witch says, all hail Macbeth, that shalt be king hereafter. So that's a strange prophecy coming his way. Macbeth is so awestruck by these prophecies that for some time he is unable to speak to them at all. He is completely absorbed in his own thoughts and he is suddenly alarmed by such words. So Banquo responds first. Good sir, he refers to Macbeth. Why do you start, that is, you appear suddenly alarmed by the prophecy and seem to fear things that do sound so fair? And Banquo asks Macbeth, why are you so scared? Why do you appear to be scared of such a wonderful prophecy? In the name of truth, are you fantastical or that indeed which outwardly you show? Now Banquo shifts his focus towards the witches again, and he again questions the witches that in the name of truth, truthfully let us know, are you fantastical creatures, are you imaginary creatures, or that indeed which you outwardly show? Or the way you appear outwardly, is that what you are, or you are just a figment of our battle-worn imagination? My noble partner, you greet with present grace, that is, you to greet my noble partner with immediate good wishes, good prophecies, and great prediction of noble having. Noble having means of noble fortunes and of royal hope, and even predict that he might be king at some point, that he seems rapt withal. Rapt withal, this phrase means absorbed completely. So he is completely absorbed by this prophecy. To me you speak not. So almost in a form of a jest, Banquo tells the witches, you don't speak to me, you only speak to my noble partner. Why don't you all speak to me as well? Now Banquo uses a nature imagery. If you can look into the seeds of time, so a nature imagery, and say which grain will grow. So Banquo says, if you all are so powerful that you can look into the seeds of time and predict beforehand which seed is good and will sprout into a new plant, if you can truly predict future and say which grain will grow and which will not, which will sprout into a plant and which will not, speak then to me, who neither beg nor fear your favors nor your hate. So Banquo's attitude towards the witches is indifferent. So he warns the witches, he almost challenges them and says, you speak to me, for your words have no effect on me. I am neither begging nor fearing your favors, your prophecies, nor your hate. So I am not afraid, not affected by the favors that you may bestow on me. Neither am I worried if you give me a lot of hate. Now, from neither till hate, this particular line is specifically important because here we have alliteration, fear and favor. This line has altered its structure. The structure has been altered and a figure of speech known as hyperbaton has been used here. Hyperbaton is where the normal order and structure of the sentence is altered, and within that sentence you also have an alliteration. So this is an example of hyperbaton. So the witches first say hail, hail, hail. So the three witches greet him as hail, 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 and then they predict lesser than Macbeth and greater. So he says, Banquo will not be as great as Macbeth, but greater. First witch says that you will be lesser than Macbeth, but in some accounts you will be greater. So this shows how they speak in riddles. Witch 2 says, not so happy yet much happier. Third witch says, thou shalt get kings though thou be none. So they say that they tell Banquo that you will not become a king, but you will beget kings. That is, you will give birth to kings. So all hail Macbeth and Banquo, which one again says, Banquo and Macbeth all hail. So they have finished their prophecy. Macbeth now, he took some time to recover and gather his thoughts, and he speaks directly to the witches, demanding further answers. Stay, you imperfect speakers because they have been providing incomplete information to him. Tell me more. By Finel's death, Finel is Macbeth's father. I know I am Thane of Glamis. So Glamis is a part that is ruled by Macbeth's family, and since his father passed away, he became the Thane of Glamis. But how of Cawdor? The Thane of Cawdor lives a prosperous gentleman. So he says that, but the Thane of Cawdor is alive and he is a prosperous gentleman, he is a well-to-do man. And to be king stands not within the prospect of belief. And he says that, and to become a king is beyond one's belief or consideration, no more than to be Cawdor. So he says the prophecies that you have made, they seem extremely improbable to be true. Say from whence you owe this strange intelligence. So he says, tell me, say from whence means where you owe, that is, you obtain this strange information. Or why upon this blasted heath you stop our way with such prophetic greeting. So he says, upon this blasted heath, upon this cursed heath, why did you stop our way and greet us with such prophetic greeting, means with such future predictions. Speak, I charge you. So he says, I command you to speak. But the witches vanish. Banquo. The earth hath bubbles as the water has, and these are one of them. Whither are they vanished? So suddenly they were speaking and suddenly they disappear. So Banquo feels that earth has bubbles as water do, they disappear suddenly. And he is completely stunned by this sudden appearance and disappearance, and he asks, whither are they vanished? Whither means to which place have they vanished? Macbeth, into the air. So Macbeth also seems to be slightly disoriented and confused. So he says that it appears that they disappeared into the air. And what seemed corporal, corporal means corporeal, possessing a flesh or a body, melted as breath into the wind, and they just melted like breath, like air in wind. Would they had stayed. So the last line is important. It shows his desire to know more. Macbeth says he wishes they had remained for some more time. Banquo. Were such things here as we do speak about? So he feels that were the witches truly present in front of them and they have heard the witches speak, or have we eaten on the insane root, or they have taken in some kind of insane root that makes people hallucinate, that takes the reason prisoner. Reason is personified here. Takes reason prisoner means that makes one incapable of logical reasoning. Macbeth repeats the prophecies again. Your children shall be kings. Banquo says, you shall be king. Macbeth, and Thane of Cawdor too. Went it not so? Banquo says, to the self same tune and words. So he says exactly the same tune in which you are saying and exactly the same words. Who is here? So they reflect upon the words of the witches, and while they were doing so, two messengers arrive. What news do they bring? We will find that out again in the next part of this video. Please stay tuned. If you like my work, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. If you have any confusion with any portion, any part, please let me know in the comment section so that I may discuss it in my future videos. If you have any suggestion for future videos, please do write about that as well so that I can prepare videos on those topics. Thank you for watching. I will again see you all in the next video.